We get a lot of people that relocate to the greater Sacramento area, and Folsom is definitely one of the hottest communities that people choose. Now, while there are several reasons you're gonna love Folsom, today we're gonna talk about the 10 reasons why you may not wanna live in Folsom. So make sure you stick around until the very end to hear number 1, because it's one of the main reasons why people decide not to move to Folsom, California. What's up everyone? Welcome to our channel, or welcome back to our channel. We are Lance and Lauren with L2 Home Group, and on this channel we talk all about what it's like living in Sacramento and the surrounding areas. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. We're dropping new videos every Tuesday and Friday on what it's like living in Folsom and the greater Sacramento area.
On top of making videos, we're also licensed real estate agents in the state of California, which means as much as we love making these videos, we love helping you with all of your real estate needs. We are the ones that answer those calls, emails, and texts. So if you do have any questions about Sacramento, Folsom, or any of the surrounding areas, we would love to help you guys out.
So there are so many reasons why Folsom is voted one of the top cities to live in the United States, and why tons of people move from all over the country and call Folsom home. But today we're gonna be covering some of the things that you may not have heard about. So we're jumping in right into number 10. So I'm just gonna come right out and say it. It's hot. Folsom and the greater Sacramento area have hot and dry summers. We have a lot of days in the summertime where the temperatures are at or above 100 degrees. Sometimes in late July through early August, we can get stretches where it never seems to get below 85 degrees and your house just doesn't seem to cool off. Now, most of the homes here are equipped with AC, but just in the off chance that you find a home that doesn't, your summers are gonna definitely be miserable and uncomfortable. Now, even if you do have AC, those 2 to 3 week stretches in the summertime can definitely put a strain on your home, and you're gonna have to change up your lifestyle. You're gonna wanna do all of your activities super early in the morning or later in the evening when the sun's gone down. Now, I will say a plus to Folsom is that when it does get super hot, you can hit up Folsom Lake or Lake Natoma. Folsom Lake, being the bigger of the two lakes, is fun for boating, tubing, and jet skis. They have a couple of beach areas where you can head out with the family and have some fun with the kiddos at the lake. And Lake Natoma is definitely the more chill of the two lakes. This one is gonna be where a lot of people go out and they go paddle boarding or they take their kayaks out. Since there aren't any motorized boats on this lake, you're not gonna be dealing with any of the wake from the bigger boats. There is a launch point off of Greenback, or you can hang out at the entrance off of Hazel and 50 near the Sac State Aquatic Center. There are also a few other areas where you can gain access to this lake, either by Folsom Lake Hotel near Sutter Street, or there's an entrance off of Main Street in Orangeville that's about a quarter-mile walk from where you can park. You can also park over at the Folsom outlets, and you can walk across the street, which will give you access to some of the biking trails around the lake, and then you can also check out everything that's pretty much on the east side of Lake Natoma. Now, it has been a while since I've been out to this side of the lake, but when I was younger, sometimes you would get lucky and find an awesome rope swing that you can swing out into the middle of the lake if the park rangers haven't come by and cut the tree down.
Number 9 on our list is going to be poor air quality and wildfires. We don't get wildfires all the time, and so far they haven't hit Folsom or Sacramento or the surrounding areas directly in the valley. However, California is becoming more and more known for its wildfire season, which is mainly due to the state's inability to maintain the forest. Now, what this means to us is that during wildfire season, the smoke can roll into Folsom and sit stagnant until the winds shift in our favor and carry the smoke out. The first thing that sucks is that if you've got any type of air sensitivity or respiratory issues, this can definitely put an unwanted strain on your life. The bummer is when this happens, it can be similar to the heat and put a damper on your life. Sometimes the air quality is not as bad in the morning during those weeks, and you can get out and get errands done before the AQI starts to increase later in the day. Now, the other crappy thing about this is that usually all outdoor activities end up getting canceled. Everything from kids sporting events to outdoor activities and any type of outdoor events like recess or PE for children when they're at school. Basically anything you would want to do outside, you can't until that smoke clears and the air quality improves to a healthy level.
The other downside to the wildfires is that while it doesn't directly hit Folsom, insurance carriers are making sure that homes have a more defensible space around the property to make sure vegetation and tree growth are controlled and healthy, and limiting any potential for houses to catch on fire. Now, 8th on our list of things you should know before you move to Folsom is that the public transportation is pretty limited. Folsom public transportation system is not as developed as other metropolitan areas in California, which may make commuting more difficult. A couple of things that you have to keep in mind if you're considering moving here from a bigger city like San Francisco or LA is that Folsom doesn't have a complex or developed infrastructure. With our major city job market being in Sacramento, getting there can prove to be more difficult. The one plus to Folsom is that there is a light rail that can take you from certain parts of Folsom to downtown Sacramento, which is a lot more than some of the other cities can say. The side effect to this is that since there's a lack of public transportation to get you to and from Folsom to Sacramento, then this increases the likelihood of traffic to and from downtown, and also Highway 50 can be a little bit more congested than Interstate 80. If you're trying to get home in the evening and you live on the north side of Highway 50, which most people do, there are only 4 major crossing points to get you across the river, which are Howe Avenue, Watt Avenue, Hazel, and Folsom Auburn Road. A lot of the traffic that you can experience on Highway 50 can be trying to get across the river between 4 and 6 p.m. So sometimes when I work downtown, I would go the other way through Highway 80 just because there were multiple ways to get home and I didn't require me to cross that river.
Number 7 on our list is allergies. Folsom is absolutely beautiful. It's covered in trees and greenery and plants, which is awesome because of the beauty that the greenery provides. However, with all of that awesome greenery comes allergies. Many people who've never lived in this area tend to experience mild to moderate allergies, even if they have never experienced them before. Now, the good thing is usually if you are one who experiences these allergies, it's usually something that an over-the-counter allergy pill can take care of. My daughter, who is an avid runner and is outside a lot, tends to experience seasonal allergies from the pollen during the spring and summer months. However, once we put her on an over-the-counter allergy pill, pretty much all of her symptoms went away and she was fine. So just know that while you might be one of the lucky ones that doesn't experience the allergies, it could be something that happens to you.
Even if you've lived here before, moved away, and then moved back, expect for those allergies to come back in full force. Even when I moved away to San Francisco for 8 months, the next allergy season was brutal and was hard to bounce back from. Next on our list of things that you should know before you move to Folsom is the lack of nightlife. Folsom has plenty of options for restaurants and great places to eat. The nightlife in Folsom is not what you're typically used to though in some other bigger metropolitan cities, or even in Sacramento for that matter. I used to come down to the main area of Folsom in my early 20s, which was Sutter Street and kind of everything around there, but outside of that, you're pretty much looking at local bars and smaller establishments. One really cool place to check out if you are looking for a fun spot in Folsom is Powerhouse Pub, which is also attached to Scarlett's. This place, along with the rest of Sutter Street, is going to be probably the most liveliest place in Folsom. Powerhouse usually has some local bands that play here from Thursday night through Sundays, depending on the band and the theme of the night. Now, there are many other perks to Folsom that doesn't include nightlife. However, if that is one of the things that you like to do, you may want to consider either living a little bit closer to Sacramento proper than if you're going to live in Folsom.
Next on our list to consider if you're thinking about moving to Folsom is crowded public spaces. Folsom has grown a ton over the past 10 years, which is great because new growth has brought a lot of new businesses, restaurants, and shopping to the area. However, with all of that growth, certain places tend to be more crowded during peak or popular times. For example, one of the places we tend to notice this more is anytime we go out to eat at a restaurant on Friday or Saturday night. We know we will be waiting for a minimum of 45 minutes to an hour to get a table. This can be super frustrating, especially if you've waited until the last minute and you're hangry and you just want to go somewhere quick to get something to eat. A lot of these places also don't take reservations and it's a first come, first serve, so you're stuck waiting. Other places can be more crowded as well, such as movie theaters, grocery stores, and the Palladio. Since Folsom tends to be one of those areas that is really popular with people relocating from other areas, the positive to this is that those who decide to call Folsom home can see stable home values in the future.
Next on our list is bugs. Now, while Folsom or California may be milder than other states, one thing that you can depend on from people who are not used to our area is mosquitoes. Since we're close to 2 lakes and some rivers, sometimes in those spring and early summer months, the mosquitoes can be super annoying and tend to make you rethink some of your outdoor activities, or at least plan ahead with some bug spray.
Next on our list is lack of walkability. Folsom is definitely a suburb and it doesn't have that big city feel. Living here, you will need a car to accomplish pretty much all of your errands or tasks. Folsom is not a place where you can walk everywhere. With the city being spread out from Lake Natoma all the way past Highway 50, it can take a little bit of time to get from one side of town to the other, even in a car. The other thing to take into consideration with lack of walkability is also school location in relation to where you live and where your kids will be going to school, especially at the high school level. With the city having 2 high schools, sometimes you may have a 15 to 20 minute drive getting through town to get your high schooler to school. Now, there are more options when your children are at the elementary age, but depending on where your house is in relation to the elementary school, it still may be a further walk than what you're comfortable with for your kiddo. This is definitely something to think about if you're used to walking everywhere, like in a bigger city like San Francisco, or if you're used to your kids walking to school.
Now, number 1 and number 2 on our list kind of go hand in hand, which is higher property taxes at number 2 and higher cost of living at number 1. Now, higher property taxes can be a deterrent for some people considering living in California, and Folsom is no different. Now, with property tax rate being based on 1% of the purchase price of your home, the higher the cost of the home equals the higher property tax rate. The other tax that can be factored in is all the special assessments that are also added to certain areas of Folsom. Each area is slightly different, but as we start to see new infrastructure being built out on south of side of Highway 50, in Folsom Ranch and Russell Ranch, some of those houses will also start to have the Melrose bond added to the tax rate, which is going to cover all the new roads, the new schools, and all the increased first responder personnel. Finally, the number 1 reason that you should consider before you move to Folsom is higher cost of living. Folsom has a relatively high cost of living compared to other cities in California, and even more specifically, other areas of the Sacramento metro. Everything from housing, transportation, and healthcare costs are higher than the national average here. One of the main factors is going to be housing costs though. Typically, housing and rental costs are driven by supply and demand, and Folsom continues to keep its demand over the years. With excellent school district, a high quality of life, and great job opportunities, the demand for Folsom hasn't really stopped. The downside to this is that the entry price point for purchasing a home or renting an apartment in Folsom is going to be higher than the neighboring areas like Orangeville or Fair Oaks. You might be dealing with competing offers if you're trying to purchase a home, but the plus side to this is that if we're able to help you secure a home in Folsom, the demand has remained pretty steady and should be an excellent home to live in and or an investment if you choose to sell it or rent it in the future. So while some of these things about Folsom may not seem like a big deal, others are definitely important factors that you should be taking into consideration if you're thinking about moving to Folsom. So this is what we can help you with. We help hundreds of people relocate to Folsom in the greater Sacramento area. But for us to help you find that perfect spot to live, all you have to do is reach out to us. We are the ones that answer those calls, texts, and emails. So if there are any questions that you have about Folsom, Sacramento, or any of the surrounding areas in regards to your real estate needs, we would love to help you guys out. And as always, just know that we got your back when it comes to moving to Northern California.